The Son of Wands just jumped out of my deck when you entered, Hope. Just a fun little hello. Oh, it's so good to see you guys. Hello. How are we doing? It's kind of warm, so I have a fan on. Is that interfering with my sound at all? With the fan? Or can you hear me okay? Okay, good, 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 good. Well, let's give ourselves some time here to get into a comfy seated position for a bit and take a few breaths as I draw these tarot cards that will help guide us. We'll be mindful with these breaths and really notice our awareness, our perception and where we are. Maybe you look around your home or wherever you are, just kind of take it all in. Noticing any sights and sounds, maybe some smells. We can take some deep breaths in and out. Let's take one together. Okay. I will show you what I drew. We have the Chariot here. This is from the Mother Peace deck, co-created by two women. And we have imagery from matriarchal societies here. Just kind of take in these symbols and colors and figures. And the next card I drew is the Ace of Wands. Notice anything that this image stirs up inside of you. And this is what it looks like with both cards next to one another. Just noticing the colors, how they kind of complement each other. Like we have a little bit of blue, but mostly warm colors here. And now we have mostly cool colors, a little bit of gold here. So that's kind of nice. Okay, so we can think of these images, the Chariot, the Ace of Wands, and let's get into a brief meditation. This can be seated or any other comfortable position for your body. And take a few moments, and you might close your eyes, eliminate the sense of sight, get in a little deeper. And still notice any sounds you might hear. Notice anything that's happening outside of your house versus inside of your house. Take deep breaths in and out, listening. Scanning and observing where you are in this room that you're in, where you are in relation to the ceiling, the walls, the floor. the safety of these structures of the home. Where's your body in relation to that? And then really come into your body here. Notice your outer layer, your skin, and where it touches your clothes, where your skin might touch the floor beneath you, if it does. Skin touching other parts of your skin. And take a big intentional breath in this outer layer. Good. Noticing what lies beneath the skin. Noticing what lies beneath that. Allow the breaths to be deep and full as you get more and more inside of yourself. Centering in your awareness and focus. You can allow the awareness to scan the body at your own pace in your own way, and the breath can be a guide. We'll give ourselves about a minute here to really center our focus. Just notice where these first few breaths take you. And see what happens with the exhales. Eventually, we will allow our energy and awareness to get more and more focused in our core and heart center. You might drop into that right away after I said those words, or maybe it takes you a while to get there, and that's okay. Just notice wherever you are right now and see if you can harness and center it to your core and heart. We have time. Let's take another breath together, breathing into the heart and out through the belly. Good. And when you're ready, bring one hand to the heart and one hand to the belly. Noticing the temperature of these hands in this part of you in your center. And really spread those fingers wide to notice the entire surface area, how much of your core that you can touch with your hands. Noticing the belly and the heart and the chest and the guts. Deep breaths. See if you can feel these hands rise and fall with the breath. And with your mind's eye, recall those images of the Chariot and the Ace of Wands. These are both cards of movement in pursuit of goals, ambitions, dreams. And strongly guided by our gut and our heart. When we come to the decision to move, to do, to create, the initial spark. We all operate differently in how we assert ourselves in the world, but for the most part, it seems like it starts here, either in the gut, like we get a gut feeling about something, or we really feel it in our heart and soul. This is the part that is truest to us. So really notice your heart and your gut and your feelings and your embodiment of those feelings. Practice today is more circled around this, based on these cards. So maybe not so much analytical thinking or perceptions that we may have had some judgments influenced based on how we learn or how we think we should move forward or what someone else might think. Not so much thinking, but feeling and doing and being. So again, these hands on these parts of us. Before I even break down the individual meanings of these cards, what does this mean for you right now? What's coming up for you right now in your gut and your heart? Good. Big breath in, noticing the belly and the chest rise. Exhale, mouth open, sigh. Good. One more together. Good. Allow the hand that's on the heart to the palm to face downward, the palm that's on the belly to face upward. Gonna hover away from this part of our body for a bit. And then removing those hands from your chest and belly, notice, do you feel the imprints? Any memory of the hands that were once there? What do the palms feel like right now? They're aimed towards one another. We'll bring our fingers to close towards each other, towards the palm. And then slowly lifting and lowering the hands until they meet at the center. Good. Noticing the fingertips by the wrists. And slowly press down on those fingertips. We're gonna kind of cover, like create a little cave in our palm and fingers here. Kind of plugging in like this. So we feel a little bit of space between the hands, and then we feel the sense of enclosement. And let's think about what we're storing, what we're securing here in our hands. What are you bringing with you on this journey? Good. Deep breath in and out. Good. And then dragging the fingertips across the palms. We're just going to wash it away and let it go. We can bring our hands on the floor now. So feel this ground, this real ground beneath you, this actual earth that you're sitting on. And notice all parts of the body that are touching that ground, that have been there. Really fully bring your awareness to the ground. Good. We'll take another breath. Good. Keeping the right hand on the floor outside the hip, let's bring the left hand to the right thigh or knee. We're going to open the chest towards the right, twisting in the upper body, dropping the right shoulder away from the ear, and noticing this twist right here. Noticing the hand that is on the floor and the hand that is touching you. With an inhale, notice the top of the head. With an exhale, notice where you twist. Good, and if you wish to expand upon this twist, you can bring that right hand further behind you and the fingertips can point away. You might open up a little more in that shoulder, maybe a little subtle bend in the elbow, maybe twisting a little more in the neck. Notice both hands and your seat. Notice your inhale. And one last exhale. Good, keep the left hand where it is. Cross the right hand over to the opposite thigh. Good, notice this little crisscross with the arms. Breathe in and out. Good, and then left hand down, we'll come to this twist. So hands on the floor, keeping the right hand where it is on the thigh or knee. Beginning the twist in the upper body and then deepening it in your own way. Eventually you might bring that left hand further behind you. That's your choice. Noticing where the twist is in your core, your belly, your heart. Good, noticing the floor, the hands, the inhale, lift up. Notice the exhale. Good, and release, cross that other hand over, both hands on the thigh, that crisscross feeling. Notice what you feel in your heart when you do this. And then we'll lift our arms up and then just wrap ourselves around, our arms around ourselves. And we can slowly tuck the chin towards the chest. And you might even round in the upper back as well. It's really kind of coming into a curled up hug. Allowing the head to bow in reverence and respect. Good, deep breath in and out. Good, and as you inhale, begin to straighten the spine. You might even lift the gaze up. We'll open our arms slowly and bring them out from side to side, bringing the shoulder blades together, the chest to lift out and up, the throat to rise. Pause for a moment here in this open feeling, this embodiment of openness. Good, deep breath in and out. Good, as you begin to exhale, we'll round in and come back to that curled up hug. You might wrap one arm around another. We'll pass this back and forth at our own pace. You might choose to crisscross these arms. That's not necessarily important here. What we're looking for, or we're trying to feel here, is these opposing actions of hugging and closing ourselves off and rounding in on ourselves versus opening and expanding. And the pace is up to you, and the breath can be a nice guide. Might be one breath per movement, or you hang out for a bit. Good, we'll do one more round and we will end in whichever form feels best for us. So it might be the hugging in, it might be the opening up. Tune into the one that feels right for where you are right now. And we'll breathe one intentional breath in whichever form we chose. We can breathe together. Great. Let's come to a child's pose, or lying on your belly or your side. Some sort of downward, inward position that feels comfy for you. You might bring a cushion or blanket or anything underneath you. Good. Let's scan the body, scan the room. Coming into your physical form. Good. So we're already a third through the practice, and I'm finally getting ready to talk about this first card here, the Chariot. That seems about right, because in order to really get to this card, there's some groundwork that needs to be done. It's the 7th card in the Major Arcana. It is after working through these initial beginning stages. It takes us out of the first leg of the journey into the more juicy middle part of the Major Arcana, which is, in a very brief form, a step-by-step enlightenment, so to speak. This specific archetype here, the Chariot, again, symbolizes some form of movement. After having these first initial steps of like guides, so to speak. So having these foundational moments that kind of shape the direction that we want to go. Have a little bit of education towards this path that we're going down, like a sense of purpose. Knowing where you want to go and having trust that you're headed in the right direction. The Chariot focuses on accomplishing goals, using discipline and determination to succeed or win. I'm reading from the guidebook here. She knows how to move around in the world and take care of herself. She is in the driver's seat of her life. Now, every time I read from these cards during these classes, I just read straight up, like not any reversals. So this archetype might resonate with you, like, yes, I do feel like I'm in the driver's seat of my life, or perhaps it might feel like the opposite. Whatever this archetype means and feels, whatever it stirs up within you is what the practice is. So how can we work with this archetype of Chariot? Well, let's notice our own sense of control. Are we in the driver's seat of our body? Let's tune into our body. So notice that outer layer again. Notice the heart and the belly. Notice your deep breaths. Good. Take another breath. Take another one. Slow, deep, full. Begin to take control of your breathing. Make some noise, perhaps. Really embody this breath. Maybe you begin to kind of wiggle a little bit with your breath. You might shift the way you're connecting with the floor, perhaps. But our respiratory system is the only system we actually can control directly. We can't tell our guts immediately to digest a certain way or our heart immediately to beat a certain way. We can get there through practice in other ways. But being able to step into our bodies and control it with the breath is very powerful. One more. Allow it to be the biggest, fullest breath of the day. Good. From your child's pose, notice your own knees on the floor wherever they are. Bring your hands on the floor as well. And when you're ready, press up to a tabletop position. And then eventually we will move into our cat-cows here. So find the foundation first, and then find your flow. Noticing the spinal movements, this back and forth. How it's a little reminiscent of the movements we did before while we were seated. But there's a little different way of going about it. And you might allow for some more experimentation in the neck or the rib cage. You might wiggle a little bit, maybe rocking the hips. Move however you want to move. Good, we'll take about 3 more breaths. Notice your next inhale whenever it comes to. And then whenever you exhale, straighten out the back for a tabletop position. Come back into your hands. Spread those fingers nice and wide. Really notice the surface area of your hands. Noticing the knees and hips. Good, and then we'll extend the right leg behind us. Rock back and forth across those heels, just for a little bit, for those toes I mean, pressing into the heel. Just wake up the leg. Good, and then shift so the shoulders are over the wrists. Have a little bit of engagement in the core. And then lift up that back leg and point and flex the ankle, maybe some circles. Good, spread those right fingers nice and wide, and then we'll reach the left hand forward. Good, spreading those fingers nice and wide. So we have options here. You don't have to lift that back leg. You can keep just that big toe down on the floor if that feels more accessible to you. But the thing we're going for here is this long line, this reaching forward, and this foot behind us. So tuning into how we have one foot behind. Here we are, our core in the center, and then one hand in front. Breathe in, feel the toes and fingers separate. And then as you exhale, lower the knee and the hand back to the floor. Good, returning to your tabletop position. Take a deep breath. Good, elongate that left leg, straightening the knee, rocking back and forth. Kind of wake up the back of the leg, the foot, the heel, the toes. Good, center yourself. Spread the left fingers nice and wide. Engage in the thigh and core, lifting up that back leg, optional, or just keeping that big toe down. And then reach that right arm forward now. Good, taking a couple moments to really feel yourself spreading wide. Good, big inhale. Exhale, lower the hand and knee down. Good, feel some sense of stability in your shoulders and hips. Noticing the belly and the heart. Good. Right leg lifts, left hand lifts. Good. Feeling this side from left fingers to toes. Inhale. Exhale, lower. And then pass it back to the other side, the opposite side. See how smoothly you can do this. Maybe one breath per movement, maybe you hang out for a little bit. Feeling a sense of expansion, of movement, but also steadiness and stability, mindfulness, awareness. You have a direction. You know where you're going. Great. Let's do one more round. Whenever you're done, we'll drop back into a child's pose. Good, returning to your own child's pose here. Take a couple breaths. Really noticing your hips and low back. Allow the next exhale that you take to really release that focus there. Good. With your next breath, notice your belly and your guts. With your next breath, notice your lungs, rib cage, and heart. And with the following breath, notice your head and your forehead. Good, and take one more breath into this forehead. Really settling in this part, connecting it downward, either directly on the floor or at the prop. Really grounding yourself right here in the third eye. So one thing with the Chariot is even if there is a guide or a purpose leading us, we never really know what lies ahead on this path. Even if we have like a good sense of awareness and direction that we're going, it's not 100% guaranteed. One big important thing is just having faith and trust that whatever happens, it'll be okay. Surrendering to what is out of our control. And it's interesting how that surrender of that sense of control actually empowers us even more. It secretly gives us a little more control, in a way, because we're allowing ourselves to, quote, fail, or make a mistake, or anything. We are softening to that, getting a little more fluid with the movement. Feel your forehead for another breath. And then we have an option here in your body, if it's right, to come to, I believe it's either called snail or rabbit. I don't know why it's mixed up in my head, but bringing the crown of the head down and the hips up. And just kind of rubbing the top of your head down on the floor here. Your hands can help guide you. Just noticing this top of our head, making contact here with the floor. Maybe a little bit of movement. Good. Come into that connection of your crown on your head for a big breath in and out. And then slowly roll back down, forehead returns, hips return. Good, and then we'll do one more, just big breath coming to the crown. Breathe it in and out. Good, and then release it back to child's pose. Great, slowly press into the hands, lift the chest up. Walking the hands back towards your seat, and let's stretch our legs out in front of us here. We can kind of shake them out a little bit. Then we'll move the meat of our seat so that our sit bones are more revealed on the floor. Let's return our hands on this floor. Return to this, hands down. Good. Feeling these legs stretching out. Notice the parts of the body touching the floor, from the backs of the heels, the calves, the thighs, the glutes, the hands. Feeling all of that surface area connecting downward. Good, and then softening in the shoulders. I'm going to slowly slide our hands outward so just the fingertips connect with the floor. Good, big breath in and out. Noticing the angles between the feet, the hips, and the shoulders. And noticing where your head lies between all of that. Soften the jaw. Notice the neck, the ears in relation to the shoulders. Slowly drop one ear towards one shoulder. Doesn't matter which side we do. You might lift and lower the chin a little bit. You might open and close the jaw. Softening and letting go in the head and neck. Find a spot that feels nice and good, and we'll take a deep breath together. Good, returning the head through center, and then opening up on the other side, dropping it the other way, a little bit of movement. Soften, 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 open. Good, deep breath in and out. Good, back to center. Lift the right palm to face the sky. Inhale the right arm up. Noticing the hands, the right shoulder, the right hip. Left palm can come down on the ground now. Stabilize yourself. Root down on the floor. Inhale, feel those right fingers. As you exhale, you might deepen and stretch to the side ever so slightly. Or maybe you kind of get a nice, deep, juicy side body stretch, but nothing too drastic is necessary here. So we're really feeling just an opening up, even with the simple act of lifting that arm up. Good, deep breath. With an inhale, come back through center, right arm lifts. With an exhale, lower the hand back to the floor. Both fingertips are down on both hands. Breathe in and out. Good, left palm lifts and we rise. Notice what's open on the left side, root down. Breathe in. Exhale, side body stretch. Good, remaining rooted. Noticing where your gaze might be. And another deep breath. Good, inhale through center. Exhale, lower, both hands on the floor. Deep breath together. Good, both palms rise. Inhale. Pause, notice the seat, the fingers. Inhale. Exhale, hinging at the hips, fold forward. Maybe you grab your feet or ankles or shins. You might hold on to yourself a little bit, or maybe not. Maybe they reach, maybe they come to the floor. We'll take a couple moments in a forward fold, about 12 or so breaths, really giving ourselves time here. And the inhales might reignite a little lift in the heart. The exhales might allow a little more soften. Good, one more breath. Slowly release yourself from this and come onto your back whenever you're ready. Whatever form of being on your back feels good. Maybe extending the legs, maybe having the knees bent and the soles of the feet are on the floor. Whatever feels right, just come to your back. Good. Introduce your back to the floor or bed, wherever you may be practicing. And let's draw our knees into our chests here and give ourselves a hug. It might be a tight squeeze or a gentle hold, or somewhere in between. Let's recall the image of the Ace of Wands. We had this little baby bursting from a blue egg with flames and yellow. The suit of wands is ruled by the element of fire. So you might tune into a little bit of heat in yourself, your core, where most of your heat is. So ace signifies number one. So the first of this series here. So the beginning is coming out of our shell, but here we are right before the beginning, a little prologue here. We're still in the shell in this position, hugging inwards. What's it feel like to be in this shell? This inward holding, hugging sensation. We've kind of explored this movement a little bit throughout. But now we're really, really in it. Just this comfortable on our backs, hugging this in. We might feel safe here, but we can't stay in our shells forever. So with any guidance and courage inspired by this Chariot card, let's slowly expand and burst out of our shell and come to a starfish position, or maybe a happy baby, or some sort of opening up, some sort of expansion. If you're in a happy baby, you want to move, you might kind of rock a little bit. Maybe you want to kind of be more chill and just extend the arms and legs and lay in that. Any form of bursting out of your shell that feels right for you. You're in the driver's seat of your own chariot. And you are working with your own fire here. So what ignites you? This new energy, this birth or rebirth, rather, because really it's all cyclical. It may be a new period of activity, maybe some creativity. Good. And if there is any movement in the body, let's kind of settle into a position of stillness and this expansiveness, however we choose to be. Take up space for a bit. And I am lighting an intention candle I have here because it feels right to do that, to work with fire in a literal way. Let's take a few moments. Take a few moments with your breath to scan the body and centering in on the heart and belly, your core center, allowing the awareness to be right here. Good. Centering your awareness to the heart and the belly. Take a deep breath into these spots. As you begin to breathe in more, allow the awareness to expand, so it's not just the heart and belly, but the shoulders and hips as well. We'll take a couple moments to really notice this whole part of us: shoulders, hips, side body, spine, belly, heart. Good. The next inhale, we fill up as far as our elbows and knees, expanding outward a little more. The exhales, we center back into our center, our focus areas. Inhaling outwards to the elbows and knees. Exhaling inwards. Good. Inhaling out to the wrists and ankles. Exhaling inwards. Good. Another breath to the wrists and ankles. And then whenever you breathe in next, notice your fingertips and your toes and the crown of your head expanding out in all of these directions, back and forth for a few expansive rounds of breath, feeling your entire body out and in and out and in. Good. And we'll take another one together. Breathe in. Great. Feel your entire body. You're in the driver's seat here. We have about 5 minutes left, so we can set up for our final resting pose. You choose what that is. You might want to do any movements that feel right for you, maybe a twist or heart opener or hip opener. Or maybe you settle right into your final resting pose. Let's reflect upon these cards and this practice. And anything that came up for us. Good. Settling in, if you haven't already, to a position of ease. Both of the archetypes represented in these cards have some sense of action, of effort, and a foundation of rest and ease. Before we step into our chariot, we have to learn about the way the world works and the directions that we want to go and what we want to experience in this life. And even before the first card in the wands, the suit of wands, we're an egg. We're incubated. So really feel rest. What rest might mean for you. And how rest can help you move and grow. Let's take a deep breath together. And whenever you're ready, and however you choose to do so, let's seal in this practice. Burst from our shells, make some movement so we can close out with one another. No need to rush. You might rock onto your side for a moment to pause. We'll come into a seat. Connect with our hearts. Connect with each other. Connect with our fire and our own paths. And thank each other for this leg of the journey, for the opportunity to move and rest with one another. What lights me up honors and cherishes what lights you up. Namaste.